Listen, you're basic. I know this might come as a shock, but it's true. Just listen to your heart and you'll hear it. You'll hear that bum ba dum bum bum ba dum bum bum. You're super basic. You know it's true. Your pH is crazy high. But I've got a bass up my sleeve to help you out with that. So let's get to dubstepping along so that you can drop that bass. Today we're going to be making bases for your miniatures for your tabletop gaming out of resin. I've been wanting to make some dump molds for a while, and I thought that this would be a good excuse to make them. Now, a dump mold is basically where you take any excess resin you have when you're working on another project and pour it into a mold that you just have lying and sitting around. That way you're never wasting resin because that stuff's expensive. Now, I like these bases that are a little bit thicker than the ones that you get with like WizKids models, and so I like to use Base Boss or Reaper mini bases. They're great for D&D minis, and they are 1 inch around, but they have this little hole in the back of them. We'll have to deal with that as we're kind of recreating these things because I don't want there to be this divot in the back. I also have these 1 inch clear acrylic circles, which are awesome for being able to see the terrain underneath your minis. They're also super flat and almost like glass on the top compared to the other bases, which have a more textured surface. So I want to be able to have 2 different styles. Now, the mold or container or vessel that we're actually going to be making our silicone molds in for this project is actually a metallic dice box. They come with a lot of the more expensive metal dice that you get, but they actually have a lid and a bottom. The bottom one has kind of a curved lip on the top where the top ones generally don't have that. So it's actually the top of the boxes that I want to be using here. Now I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways to glue your bases down on there because there are a bunch of different ways to do this, and I think you should have options. There are these double sticky sided little giant glue dot circular things, which are a little bit over 1 inch in diameter, which is perfect for what we want because you will be able to stick your bases right on them. There's no way that there's going to be a gap in between because they are super sticky, and you can push down pretty heavily on them when they're down inside the lid and get a really nice seal all the way around. No silicone is going to get under these bad boys. The only downside to these, which you can call it not a downside if you want to, is that the glue is pretty thick on these, and so you're going to have this overlapping lid. You just have to be a little bit more accurate in your pouring of resin when you're done with these. However, I don't really see that as a huge problem, and if I have extra of these, I'm happy to use them. They're just a little bit more expensive than some of the alternatives on here, so I'd rather show you some cheaper options which work just as well, if not better, depending on who you ask. Now, if you don't have the metal boxes, that's totally fine. You can really use any container to make this work. I also do it with a Dixie cup by putting the little glue dot down in the bottom and putting the base on top. I'll pour silicone over that and it'll be just fine. I wanted to make some other styles like I said before, and I tried to use a large piece of Scotch tape held down by some other Scotch tape because I thought, oh, this is great, it's a large surface area, I can stick the bases down onto that and there won't be any excess, because I didn't have any double-sided tape. I thought, as I was working, my wife comes in and says, why don't you use the double-sided tape we have? I said, we don't have any of that. She said, yes, we do. I said, no, we don't. She brought some double-sided tape up, and I was wrong. So I taped that down to the bottom. I make 2 little rows the same way we did before, and I do it again here on a black lid. That way you can see a little bit better for YouTube. And I'm going to make both a set with the regular black Base Boss bases, as well as the acrylic ones so that you can see the difference. I will say that I think the acrylic ones work better for this method, and I will show you why after we pour the silicone. They stick to the bottom very well. The other ones don't stick as well because there's less surface on the bottom because they've got those divots. I also have these larger 2x1 bases that are rectangular. They are an old set of Warhammer bases, which I thought would be great for some taller monsters, and I thought, hey, let's try recreating those. And because these have these little kind of ridges on the underside, I just put some hot glue on there and stick them right down, and that's the best adhesion, glue up, I don't know, whatever it's called, but it sticks far better than any of the others. So maybe try hot glue on the other ones and just put it on the little divots on the underside of the bases, because hot glue really holds it down onto there, and I can reuse these bases no problem. If you have a larger lid like this Die Hard dice lid here, I'm able to actually fit 7 bases at a time on there, so you can get a little bit more bang for your buck. But now that we've got these all set up, we can move on to actually pouring silicone over each of these, and I'm going to be using Dragon Skin 20. I don't have a particular reason to use Dragon Skin over any other silicone, it's just what I had around. However, I will say Dragon Skin is far more durable, so if I'm going to have these as a dump mold where a lot of extra resin is going to be used in them all the time, it's probably better that they're durable, because then I can pop things in and out of them, and I probably will never have to replace these molds where I might with some other silicones. Because we're not pouring silicone over something like dice that has a bunch of holes that you have to worry about getting bubbles on, you don't really have to pour this stuff low and slow, and I'm going to put it in a pressure pot, so it's going to take care of any bubbles that do form, so I can pour it pretty quickly as long as I'm pouring over all surface areas and making sure we have an even layer. prepare. So I do that on each of our lid molds into our Dixie cup, and I pop these into the pressure pot at 40 psi for the whole 4-hour cure time. You don't really need to do a pressure pot, but I'm probably going to pressure cast a lot of the resin that goes inside, so I do it anyway. I also, while that's curing, make up some polyplastic silicone mold because I wanted to try that and see if it would work here. It's a little bit different than regular silicone. You just take 2 parts of a roughly equal size and just kind of mash them together for about 3 or 4 minutes. Once your mold putty is a consistent color, you're pretty much good to go. So I'm going to take it and put it into 3 parts so that I can't possibly mess all of them up, right? I don't know. And I push 3 molds down into them, which is basically all you have to do. After it sits there for 30 minutes, you're going to have 3 cured molds that are ready and good to go. I will say this was far more oily than I remember it being the last time I used this stuff, and it started cracking on me a little bit, so maybe mine's just getting a little bit older, and I don't know, I gotta redo it. This isn't my favorite, and again, I'll kind of show you why. I put it down on some wax paper so that it doesn't have a chance of sticking to any of the surfaces, and after the other silicone is done curing, we can finally take these bad boys out of the mold, and they are looking pretty nice. Because we didn't have to use much silicone to cover these things, I would say I only had to cover it by maybe about 1/4 of an inch. It pops out really easy, and we didn't have to cut anything out of there, so the bases are still reusable and ready to go. And also we didn't have to cut anything out, so the boxes are just fine if that matters to you as well. Now the molds themselves are looking perfect. The texture is there from within the base boss ones, and the texture also retains itself within the clear acrylic ones. It is very, very shiny within the inside, and so I'm excited. The reason I say the ones using the double-sided tape have a little bit of a problem is you can see some silicone got under where the tape was because the tape doesn't go all the way around the outside of the bases. Not really a problem. You can just kind of peel it off or even cut the excess off with an X-Acto knife. We take out the rest of the molds. We've also got our Dixie cup on here. It even retains all of its quality, and I pull the rest of them out of our little putty. The putty looks like it's going to be okay, but it's still very oily, and I don't know, we'll just see. Now that we have our molds, we can actually decide what's going to go in these bases that we've made, because that's the exciting part of making these bases. Do you remember the Druid dice that I built before, where I had these circular round dried flowers? They happen to be about 1 inch in diameter, so I think that they are going to be perfect for the inside of a set of bases. I've got 7 different colors, and I've got the Die Hard mold, which has 7 different places. So I place all 7 different colors in there. We can have maybe 1 of each different circle for the Druids, and I move on to the acrylic ones. These ones you'll be able to see very well, so I thought, hey, let's try out some different glitters in there that can look like they're floating beneath the player's feet. I just have a random glitter pack as well as some black note glitter that I found on Etsy. I have a couple different stars and some colorful notes that I picked up more recently, and a few different hearts. I thought that's a nice wide range. I'm also going to make a water set, which is kind of a teal and blue, some just plain black ones. I have some red leafing foil, which is kind of a cool crimson-y red, and another one where I'm just using mica flakes or unicorn skin, depending on which YouTuber you watch, all of which are going to get a little bit of silver additive. Now, before I pour the resin, I wanted to find out how much a base takes up as far as volume, and it turns out it's about 2 milliliters, so I can do some resin calculations on that to know about how much I need to pour. I'm going to be using Envirotex light resin. It's no particular reason for using that one, it's just one that I have a lot of. I put on my gloves and respirator because still always want to do that whenever working with resin, better safe than sorry. Mix it up for 5 minutes and then pour some of the liquid glitter on the inside. After I mix that up, I've got my base in which I kind of separate some of the resin into different cups and pour my different pigments in depending on which one I'm using. The black pigment separated into one, the foil into another, and then the blue dyes, both the dark blue and the teal blue, into another one, which I only mix maybe 5 times before I call it good. I don't want that mixed very much at all. I want to see the different blue swirls. You can see here as I'm pouring it, it was intentionally not mixed very well. It looks a lot more like water or some kind of magical water from a fantasy game, which guess what D&D is. And I pour a little bit extra into the little blue mold. I pour the red foil, which I mixed the hell out of, that's why it's so darn tiny, and the black resin into the other molds. Now with the glitter pieces and the flowers, I actually use a pipette to put the glitter in there and move the glitter around, because if the glitter was stuck on the bottom, you wouldn't actually have resin underneath and you'd have some problems here. I actually do end up still getting some problems with the resin casting on the flowers, but I'll show those here in a little bit. Pouring the excess resin into those little blue molds, I put them into my pressure pot insert and set it in the pressure pot for 12 hours at 40 psi. After those 12 hours are done, they're still a little bit soft, so you may want to give it closer to 24 or 36. I guess it all kind of depends on the resin that you're using. But here we go. This is the first set of the resin bases done, and let's take a look at them. Now, these are not going to be as complex as fully decorated bases for miniatures. They are very much a stylized thing, but I think they're kind of a cool stylized thing that really don't take a lot of effort, and since it's just going to be for dump and excess resin anyway, I think it's good to have them. This one looks very cool. It's a very fantasy looking water, followed by the red foil, which looks awesome. It looks very much like a fire or a cinder is underneath the character's feet. And I'm going to show some examples of these under some miniatures' feet so that you can kind of get a good look at what they look like. Some of the resin poured over between the two molds here, not a big deal. You just clip it off with the little clippers that you got there and we're good to go. I was amazed at how well the black replicated itself on these larger molds. And you can see here, even on the acrylic, I had some resin spill over to the side. Again, just take some clippers or an X-Acto knife and run it along the edge and you barely will notice it at all. These came out fantastic. I love the musical notes and the hearts. The stars are pretty cool as well, but those hearts just floating around makes me just absolutely love it. I told you there was a problem with these flower ones. It's just that the flowers floated to the surface, so I actually need to put a second coat of resin on those, which I will do in round 2. These little blue molds here have a super problem. It's not actually the oil, it's actually taking off bits of the putty mold. Not a big deal. I'll use some extra resin and try it again in round 2. However, the Dixie cup mold looks great with the mica flakes. Now, before we move on to round 2, I want to say thank you for letting me share this skill with you here on YouTube. It's really fun and, well, wait. Did somebody say Skillshare? God, I get nothing but better at transitions. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video, and if you haven't heard of them, they're an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people alike. Skillshare offers classes designed for real life and all the chaos that entails. Random acts of creativity can help break up the routine of a day spent indoors. They only have like a bajillion classes, so you're bound to find something that might interest you. For example, if you happen to remember my little mascot Twintig, I had to pay somebody to animate him doing this. If I had known how to do that skill myself, I would have saved money and, learned a new skill. I've always wanted to learn how to animate, and that was actually the original degree I went for in college. I dropped that when I found out that I'm not very good at doing a draw, but had I had a class like Fraser Davidson's simple character animation, it might have gotten me more into it when I can find somebody who likes doing the same style stuff that I do and can take me along the course a lot more easily and at my own pace. But maybe animation's not your jam, maybe it's designing logos, or hell, even learning how to do dice stacking. If you like my channel, you like dice. Their membership comes with meaning, and that also means that there's no ads, so you can learn at your own pace and go as you like. So escape for a little bit, learn something new, and I'll even try and help. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get 2-month free trial of premium membership so that you can explore your creativity. We're gonna get back to basics and use some Woodland Scenics blended turf, some silver Pearl X mica powder, some red alcohol ink combined with some gold leafing foil, some black pigment, as well as some mica flakes and some teal alcohol ink. And for all of those, of course, we're going to be using the liquid silver glitter additive. Mix up the resin the same way that we did before, 1:1 by volume, mix it for about 5 minutes, add the additive, and then I start pouring into all the cups. This time I actually put the pigments in before putting the resin. That's just a pro tip. It makes life a lot easier. As I was mixing this stuff, the blended turf looked exactly like cream spinach, and it was awful. I hated mixing it every second of it, but in the end it'll look pretty decent, I think. With the gold foil adding the red, I was going for like a lava look, and with the teal on the mica flakes or unicorn skin, I was just trying to get generic magic or mana. I told you I had to fix up the flower ones a little bit. I'm just trying to put a really thin layer of resin on the back and moving it around with my pipette because I don't want there to be a giant bubble on the back of each one. As I'm pouring the cream spinach or the actual blended turf and resin into the molds, I totally hated it. It was really thick and really chunky and not thick in a good way. It was just not fun all around. I had my fingers crossed the whole time. The teal and mica flakes or unicorn skin looked pretty good as it was being poured. The black, I was just trying to recreate the actual plastic bases, and I think it's going to do a good job. The silver looks really cool in fast motion. You can see the mica powder moving around inside there. The red and gold also wasn't looking super good at this sort of liquid stage. Crossing fingers there as well. And then I poured black into the rest of the individual molds, as well as the blue little putty ones to try and give them a second shot. In the pressure pot at 40 psi for 12 hours again, and these bases are ready to go. They are looking good, save the putty ones. They still started pulling stuff off of the putty, so they are useless, and I don't recommend them at all. The green blended turf bases actually look pretty cool. After the resin solidified, it actually kind of looks like a textured grassy field. Not as good as actually basing it up, but pretty good. The silver doesn't look like anything in particular. It's great for kind of like a city base, and then the black ones look fantastic. I actually have the original base in here mixed up with this group. Can you tell which one it is? Probably not. It's this one up in the corner. I had no idea because I accidentally mixed them up and I had to flip them all over to see which one was the real one. That black pigment really looks good on textured surfaces. It comes off really nice and dull. The Mana E ones look fantastic. You can see right through them, so you can actually see the terrain beneath your character's feet as if they're floating on some sort of magic. The red and gold ones came out fantastically lava looking. I was really kind of worried about them. I didn't think they would look good at all, but the textured surface really kind of gives it an almost brown look. The flowers also look fantastic. I almost wish I had done these in the acrylic so that they'd be more glass-like and you could see through. You can see what they would have looked like on the bottom. The kind of textured surface on the top just makes them a little bit more dull, and their colors don't pop quite as much as I would like. However, I don't hate them, and I think that they will still look cool on a set of druid characters. I didn't actually get to film this last set, but it was while I was making a set of dice. I got to use these as actual dump molds with some of the pink foil that I had, similar to the red foil, and I mixed some macro pearl with some of that teal color and got a really cool Japanese looking cherry blossom set. I don't know why, it just reminds me of any sort of anime that has a Japanese cherry blossom in it. I love it, and I think the dice set that goes with it looks really cool as well. I have some extra minis that I have a bunch of duplicates of, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them off of their bases using just a razor blade right along where their feet are and just kind of wedge it back and forth. Make sure you're being very safe when you do this. I like to use E6000 glue whenever I'm gluing something to a transparent surface because super glue likes to leave a little white film on things, and that doesn't look very good. So just a tiny dab of the E6000 on the base of all of the miniature's feet, and I can stick them right down. I take some demons and put it on the little fiery looking one, and I have 3 of this guy, so I put him on 3 different bases so you can see how much of a difference a base makes on your mini. If you have one base in one color, it will change the entire feel of the miniature. I also take the longer green ones for some bigger cavalry-esque units, and I'm going to go ahead and put some grass and some rocks on 2 of them to see what difference that makes and see if it's worth actually putting grass on every single one every time. It probably is if you want something that looks like show quality. However, if you're just trying to get a bunch of minis out there, it actually looks pretty good in the end. And you can see here each mini is standing next to the rest of the bases that I had made for them, and they look awesome. I think this guy, who is shown in 3 different ways, looks really cool and can be a completely different character depending on which base you have him out for that time. And maybe it's that he's traveling to different places and needs different bases. This Aaron Yes demon here looks super cool in the red foil beneath her that looks like a fire, and these other glittery sets looks amazing on the rainbowy bard and the halfling with the hearts beneath her feet. I don't really have any base that I particularly dislike out of these. I think they all look pretty cool in their own right. I wish I had a samurai or ninja character for the Japanese looking one underneath, but if not, at the very least, creating the black ones that will be a little bit heavier because they don't have that divot at the bottom is worth it on its own for me, because I really like heavy bases and I don't want to keep having to buy metal to put underneath them. And the longer cavalry ones are really cool to be able to customize to whatever color that I'd like. Now I just need a bunch of different druid minis to actually match the flowers that go underneath them. With that, I hope that this maybe at least showed you what you can do with just spare resin, because this isn't even a main project that I want to take on. These are all bases that are going to be created whenever I make dice in the future, and I just have some extra resin, and it might give you some ideas that way you don't have to keep making really nice and elaborate bases, and you still get something that can be thematic for your character. Thank you so much for watching. Maybe consider subscribing if you might want to see some more videos like this in the future, or if you want to learn how to make your own dice from scratch, because if you're already making resin bases, you might as well make some dice to go with that character. I hope that you, yes you, are staying safe, and I hope that you also have a fantastic day.